Now we know for sure Xenoverse 3 is coming.
Hey, hey, yeah. What? What? Bow to me, ho, I'm a lord, don't you see it? Man, fuck taking pictures, bitch, paint me like Jesus. Ballin' so hard, man, I'm Kobe, I'm Jesus. I'm knocking this shit out the park like I'm Jeter. Fuck all them diamonds, blow X on some peace out. Fuck up some rhyming. Hey, what's cracking? I need 600 pizzas. Man, what the bitch?
Welcome to the dungeon, those returning and first timers. It's your host with the most, His Radiance, Lord Nasty, or H.R.L.N. I'm in deep, guys. I'm supposed to be recording my studio album, but I don't understand Reaper, and I refuse to use BandLab for a studio album, even though I gleefully use it for any other drop. I'm sorry. But beyond that, I spent $1,000 repairing my car and got hustled into fixing everything but the problem, which would have cost $1,000. And oh yeah, it's a bonus if your mechanic breaks every coil pack connector when he's changing your spark plugs, right? I should be ecstatic my engine cover is lost to the nether realm, never to be seen or cover my engine again, right? I'm just offended at the fact that he forgot to steal my catalytic converter. It's brand new. Anyway, guys, today's episode is a follow-up to the conversation about sparking zero. When I last commented, we were treated to the gameplay showcase, and I let a couple of trailers pass after that didn't reveal much but specific characters or maps, obvious things. Today, however, we get to follow up with some of the exact things I wanted. Bandai Namco has some stuff prepared to reveal at this year's Summer Game Fest, and we got a new trailer that went into the game's story mode with some hints at other things. I was first shown the footage on Steve Doge's channel, and he also has a follow-up video that goes into more detail on what was revealed on and off the trailer. But instead of just regurgitating what I've heard and adding to the flood of Sparking Zero clickbait, I want to talk about something else. Something that I started this channel saying. Xenoverse 3 is coming, and this Sparking Zero release trailer or release date trailer hints at it, I feel, in subtle ways. I can count at least 3 for sure. Now, this should be a good topic, I feel, because I do get to do my own debrief of the trailer and Summer Game Fest info, but instead of a straight up retread of other people's videos, I'll merely be supplementing my own topic or concept for discussion with the known facts that have been recently put out. So, first things first, the what if branches into story mode. Now, I mentioned myself in my last Sparking Zero video being interested in seeing the main menu or a good look at someone navigating the game suite with all its modes it offers. While we've also heard the rumblings that split screen is back, along with the assortment of tournament modes with different rules, we also have official reveal on a full-fledged story merged with what if twist. Looks robust graphically, and we know the gameplay is solid, but I'm not sure if we'll have the sort of saga battle so extensively recreated as some of the old games with about 50 fights before you move on, or if they might try to condense things to the more meaningful 1v1s and then advance the plot instead of pausing mid-match for some dialogue, then essentially starting a fresh match for each minor plot update during a fight. I honestly prefer when Goku versus Frieza is 100 fights, but I'm all for some cleaning up to make things go a little faster. Upon watching the most recently released game modes trailer, they actually showed some of the story mode running, and it does look like there will still be some of those mid-match cutscenes that refresh the fight, but we can't necessarily take this to mean that fights will still be broken up into like 20 separate encounters. It could just be a sign that they kept the same philosophy of bringing in plot details in the middle of a fight, which is cool. And I believe this definitely falls into a hint for Xenoverse 3 because it continues the sort of design philosophy that's been going on for a decade now. Of course, Tenkaichi always had a robust story mode and a couple unique movie chapters or what if chapters. Budokai 3 is quietly an open world immersive sim where exploring is key to experiencing everything or activating what if scenes. But Xenoverse is the series that made the concept of what if its cornerstone. Now, of course, in my first video, I sidebarred to speak about game development environments, tech demos, and the like, and the fact that no game asset ever completely goes poof at the end. So in this case, it's very likely that we may see some of the same plot threads of some of Xenoverse's main story missions or parallel quests become what if story branches here in Sparking Zero, or perhaps even a lot of unused story mission or parallel quest content. Now, I wouldn't see this as a bad thing at all because even though this is a bit cyclical of an exercise, the thing that's making Sparking Zero stand above Xenoverse right now is only its production value. Its graphics, effects, and I would even bet gameplay feel are top notch and stand head and shoulders above any Dragon Ball products we've gotten so far because of the sum of all the Dragon Ball products we've gotten so far. So this means that whereas there were probably some PQs in Xenoverse 2 that had interesting plot details but fell short because of the sort of cheap feeling supervillain buff effect that they use for everybody as a blanket, now in Sparking Zero, there's a chance for much greater production quality during what if moments as part of the across the board quality of life update, with perhaps more totally new unexpected forms and mood, along with the subverting of our plot expectations. Next, this is kind of about the destruction quality in the gameplay, but also kind of a smaller tidbit. I think that we get a nod to Xenoverse suggesting Xenoverse 3 in the brief moment of the release date trailer showing Goku fighting Goku Black in the city map. Now, if you notice, Goku used the smash attack and sends Goku Black flying away, crashing through the sort of futuristic walkway thing. Well, this is literally a rendition of the same map from Xenoverse with higher object and building density. The map from Xenoverse featured breakable glass that allowed you to then fight on the walkway itself. I always thought that it should have been fully destructible, and if you pay attention while playing Xenoverse 2, the game has an earlier version of Kakarot's time destruction mapping, where actually very good quality impact and beam craters are created on all sorts of map geometry, but fade away very fast. Kakarot took it a step further and showed us the destruction digitally, in a way, down to the visual dot matrix that suggests that they have just about mastered mapping out the damage certain moves should do to the environment, but perhaps making these blemishes stay or pushing near Minecraft levels of deformability was just a bit too taxing with the graphics choices. We know that Sparking Zero will be a more accessible fighter with less variability and more predictability naturally with its shift to roster characters only and no creator characters, and its renewed focus on an experience given through high quality content rather than the daily grind elements of the MMO light that Xenoverse is. So what I would take that to mean is that Sparking Zero is definitely a Tenkaichi sequel and a passion project, but I believe that it only really got its resurgence because of the success of the most previous Dragon Ball titles being Xenoverse 2 and Fighters. Now, I personally believe that these quality of life updates that we're seeing in Sparking Zero will definitely swing back around again in something like a Xenoverse because the upgrades of Sparking Zero wouldn't exist without Xenoverse. Even in watching some of the recently released gameplay footage since the embargo lifted, I noticed that the sort of special menu that Xenoverse uses is still there, and they've committed themselves to expanding the bumper menu to the point where the D-pad comes into play. Things like that, where in Xenoverse you would pull up your items that you can use and your move menu. It seems like they've sort of ported that over and updated it. So again, these are elements that I think can definitely be cyclically brought into Xenoverse after the release of Sparking Zero, including the environmental destruction and the update to expand movesets. Now, the thing that has me the most excited, and that I also believe is a nod to Xenoverse 3, is the custom battles mode. Now, on the surface, it seems to be just a real treat for fans where you can set up your own DBZ scenarios and battles and upload them to be downloaded and played, edited by other players. So this is a neat concept within itself. But what I see in callback to the game development environment, tech demo game asset thing is that they're opening up a bit of slight modability to us. And I love when developers include modes like this that allow you to tweak certain parameters and sort of go your own way and get creative, because I take this to mean, with custom battle mode being in Sparking Zero, they're fine with exposing certain elements of modability to the Dragon Ball series. Now, what that means for Xenoverse 3, to me personally, is the inclusion of certain customizable features that people wanted the most. Things like customizable aura colors, or smaller cosmetic things like that. But also, if they're willing to include a very moddable mode like custom battles where you can create your own scenarios, I wouldn't really see them being averse to adding in the ability to let you customize your combo tree in Xenoverse 3. It's two different things in a way, but in a way it's also very similar, because modes like custom battles involve exposing certain key parts of the game engine to the player to allow them to then tweak certain parameters within the safety of that one mode. So I could totally see it being implemented in Xenoverse 3, that perhaps in the character menu you can swap out your combo tree for another character's combo tree, or perhaps maybe even down to each specific button in your tree. That I feel like would be a little bit too much, because it would perhaps be hard to balance somebody tweaking or perhaps moving around each individual move in their combo tree, unless there's some sort of assigned point system to moves. But I definitely believe it to be possible as a feature now, seeing that they've included a mode like custom battles, which exposes certain back end features of the engine to the player to tweak to their own likings. So that's about it. Not a long one today. Really feel like even this could have been a little shorter. But all in all, I'm very satisfied with what's been shown with Sparking Zero. Touching on the gameplay a little bit, it looks fantastic. The graphics are wonderful. The camera angles are chef's kiss. There's so many neat physical elements. The building destruction is still pretty much heavily canned to, I guess, conserve frame rate, but the destruction is dynamic enough to where it at least looks like certain pieces will crumble before others, or there will be a degree of physicality to the way things break down, even though things still do get destroyed and certain elements disappear very fast. The fighting itself looks to be very fine-tuned, and I'm very impressed with the tracking this time around. There are certain moves that seem to pretty much go right to the character you're aiming at, like Death Beam or certain other very sharp beams. But I noticed a lot of people just sort of slightly moving away or getting missed entirely from bad aiming, dashes not leading you right up to the character, things like even missing basic square attacks and punching past each other. You know what I mean? And I think things like that will add to the variability and how dynamic each individual match is versus very locked on tracking situations where it's pretty much just button check after button check. There seems to be a much higher level positioning game going on here. I still wouldn't necessarily put it on the level of a Xenoverse 2 because I haven't seen anything much like step vanishing. And even in the gameplay I saw, I didn't even see anyone use the tech moves that they were touting a few months ago, like the beam knockaway move or the vanishing assault or even the revenge attack. So it's a toss up, you know. I think with the fighting looking as great as it does now, even without seeing those moves in play, I think it speaks volumes to how good the core fighting engine is and just how satisfying of a match you can get without knowing the finer points of combat. So yeah, to stop myself from rambling, I'll cut it out about here, but I'm very satisfied with everything that's been showed. And I think we got a real treat on our hands. The bigger treat is Xenoverse 3. Well, this has been The Dungeon, guys. I'm your host, H.R.L.N, His Radiance, Lord Nasty. And thank you, guys. Have a good one.
Hey, hey, yeah. What? What? Bow to me, ho, I'm a lord, don't you see it? My first taking pictures, bitch, paint me like Jesus.